Welcome back to WCS Montreal, where it's all on the line here for these players, not only to make their way to the grand final here and crown themselves a WCS champion, but also on their road to BlizzCon. Welcome back as we now get into more series here in the round of 16 to figure out who is going to be moving down the line. I am joined to my left-hand side by ZvZ and Todd to start things off for our next round of 16 matches. And Todd, what we've seen so far from our previous two series, unfortunately for Seoul, not the easiest of times, but Scarlet with the fantastic recovery.
Yeah, that was insane. Honestly, like, I knew she could do it, but it's always, you know, like, there's a big difference between knowing that somebody can do it and actually seeing them doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially with those builds, you know. As much as I thought Scarlet could recover, I didn't think she was going to take so many risks and go for these kind of builds. But guess what? It paid off. So good on her, I guess.
ZvZ, you were covering that game, and even 2-0 down, I know that you're friendly with Scarlet and stuff like that. Did you think she was going to be able to pull it back quite the way she did?
To be honest, no. You know, the tricks didn't work, and the macro game didn't go in her favor. You know, the late game ZVP happened, and I was like, oh, well, she don't, I don't know. But then she just, like, I don't know, the fortitude was amazing. She brought it back. The cheese ended up working. Different, you know, type of cheese. That aggressive last build was actually quite good. I'm going to be honest. I was like, okay, Hearthstone 3-1. I said that. I was going to be super smart, but it was actually Scarlet 3-2.
Very impressive stuff by Scarlet overall. Of course, now we have two more series that are coming up here for the main stage. Of course, we are covering one, whilst Todd over on the laptop will be covering another. I think it's true DNS that you're going to be covering.
Absolutely. France against Korea, one of my favorite matchups.
Something that's happened quite a lot in the past in WCS as a whole throughout the years. However, we are going to be looking at Cham going up against Nerchio, and for just even this small portion of the bracket, there is a lot to look at. We mentioned before that Cham has to get second place and then he'd be in. But if he got third and fourth place, then True could be the gatekeeper. But if, in theory, if they went through this round, both of them, they could be playing one another. So there's a lot on the line here in this side of the bracket. Can Cham do it here against Nerchio is the big question.
I think so. ZvZ is one of maybe his best matchup, one of his best for sure. And Cham is actually the most pleasant surprise for me so far this year. Top 8 in Austin, top 8 in Jönköping, had a bit more of a disappointing Valencia, but here he's back in Montreal. He's in the round of 16, and his fate is fully in his hands. If he can go far enough here, he's going to go to the global finals, which would be huge for a player like him, who I think at the start of the year wasn't even probably considered to even make, I don't know, top 16 or something.
I'll get your thoughts in a moment, ZvZ, as we are now ready to head over to the stage to welcome our players here for the round of 16. Mal, are you ready to welcome our players as well?
I am ready. The first series was absolutely breathtaking. I need a little break, but we can. It's Z versus Z. There you go. Welcome to Canada, where we don't say Z's. To my right, we have the new, I guess, up-and-coming Mexican player following the footsteps of Senor Juanito, Cham, a journeyman, and to the left is a Red Bull. Is he a king? Is he a god? Is he a nerd? Apparently, he is everything. It is Nerchio versus Cham.
All right, Zerg versus Zerg, where Nerchio is guaranteed a spot at BlizzCon, but he's looking for more here in WCS Montreal. Cham, for me, I've got to ask you, ZvZ, out of all the players that we've seen throughout the WCS circuit as a whole for 2017, is Cham the guy that has surprised us all? We didn't come into 2017 saying he's the one that's going to be a very, very consistent staple in the top 16.
I can't imagine anyone else that's in there that would be like, no, that guy was even more surprising. I think Cham was the most surprising. A lot of people didn't even really realize how close he was until, like, you know, they got to this tournament and they're like, oh, wait a second. Oh, he's actually, like, in line with True. That's a huge surprise and really great, actually, for his region.
Have you been able to kind of watch a lot of his games and study and see how he's able to play Zerg versus Zerg?
No, well, a little bit, rather. Like, I'm not a pro on Cham or anything like that, but I do believe, like, he's a little weak in the early game, where Nerchio actually excelled at that, especially in the WCS qualifiers that happened for this tournament. He was up against Guru, was actually down, and then actually went for a lot of early Lingbane aggression. He was able to take it back, and that could happen here again versus Cham.
Cham is a very aggressive / wild player, which historically is kind of what has given trouble to Nerchio. Like, remember the series against Elaser, where like Elaser technically, you know, gambled, took some risk with the builds here and there, which is StarCraft at the end of the day. Nerchio has had some trouble before with this in the past. His ZvZ does look pretty strong. Maybe, like, you know, even if he were to be like one of the matchups that it might seem like he's not doing as well in the Challenger European challenger. I think he did pretty well in the matchup. He's going up against Cham, who's like a little bit of a specialist in ZvZ, in my opinion.
A lot could be turned on its head in this side of the bracket if True is not able to advance from this round of 16, which scenarios we'll have to paint for you later on down the line. But for Cham, he's hoping that that's the case. He is hoping that he can, because they are so close in the rankings right now, that Cham can not only jump over the hurdle here of Nerchio, but then advance on even further. But Nerchio is a very tough opponent to go up against. He has been a staple in the top WCS rankings and is going to BlizzCon. So how much of a chance does Cham have here?
I think he's a solid chance. I agree. Like Todd said, like he's actually very good at ZvZ. It is just a matter of like Nerchio, I think, having that experience, like not just on stage, but also like being the one kind of like down, you know, like, oh, like his ZvZ's not so great. And then he comes back and he's like, nope, tournament's mine. Like I'm doing mine. It's great. Like I think that star power, basically, right, of Nerchio is a little bit higher than Cham's.
Yeah, he took a second place here in the WCS circuit and is looking for potentially even a tournament win as a whole. Thank you very much, guys, as we now head over to our commentary team here for WCS Montreal, as we have Cham going up against Nerchio.
G'day guys, WCS Montreal continuing, Maynard and In Control on the mic, and we have got a cracker of a ZvZ for you. It is going to be Cham against King Artur himself with Nerchio to be our second best of 5 of the day. In Control, thoughts on the series leading into this?
Yeah, two very, very strong ZvZ players. Nerchio, of course, the more storied one, but this guy on camera previously there. Anyways, Cham is the electrifying Mexican Zerg player. Go ahead, Maynard, give us your introduction.
It'd be my honor and privilege to introduce the top left here, hailing from Mexico, this is Cham! And at the bottom right, from Poland, this is Nerchio!
Nerchio opting for that early pool, looking to be the aggressor. And this could throw off Cham, who, as the people at the desk did talk about, it is Cham that is known to be more of the aggressive player, but I love what Zombie Grub said. If there is a weakness in Cham's ZvZ, it may be that early game where a lot of those decisions are made, and Nerchio's going to try and strike first blood here with this fast pool. The gas, we'll have to see if he mines past 100, which he is coming up on here in a second. Could also be a Baneling Nest. That's something that's viable there as well. But so far, Cham is getting that pool, a couple of drones after that, then the gas. That's the good news. It's not too incredibly weird to see a Zerg go gas, drone, 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 then pool, and really try to maximize that early economy.
Looks like Nerchio actually is still mining gas here, so probably Baneling aggression on the back of this, or maybe like a fast road switch or something weird, but it'd be generally Baneling Nest. Nerchio is going to go for this big Ling attack and try and reset the game or even kill Cham outright here. But we'll just have to see. Like you said, it's really important that Cham didn't go for the super, super greedy opening. He does have the ability to hold here, but it is going to be tough, make no mistake.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, you can see the style here from Nerchio. He's actually going to hold back on the Lings, and as I said, of course, he's absolutely not doing that whatsoever, but he's not going straight across the map. He's going to try to hide their numbers, go around in circumference here, and you can see Cham actually has an Overlord on a different trajectory across the map as well. Hopefully trying to kind of intercept and see something like this, because this Overlord's not going to see it in time. It's going to get to the natural, and by the time you see that there is no hatchery there, unless you've been making Lings, which is good news for Cham, he is, then you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, those Lings are on the way.
Oh, wow.
The spike as well. He's reading him like a book. Doesn't see creep spread. He knows the hatchery is not done, not on the way. Will he have enough in time? Nerchio's going to have, don't forget, there will be Banelings very, very shortly in this attack, and Cham will have to hold with just Lings and Queens, but Cham will not have speed for quite a while here as Nerchio's about to kick in. Just a couple seconds off metabolic boost.
I love Cham's position here, though. He's got a couple of Queens about to pop out. He already has some drones down there, which is, of course, that economic edge. Up 5 drones here, but the Spinecrawler about to finish. That alone does not, of course, anchor the defense. It's going to be the Queens on the ramp, and if you're doing Banelings into that natural, what are your targets? You're trying to, I guess, blow up the Spinecrawler, but that's not ideal. You're looking for big hits on Lings, and as more Queens come out, this gets more and more impossible to execute.
Very, very true. And Cham actually splitting his Zerglings up very nicely here, just in case of a big Baneling attack. Nerchio being a little bit patient as well. It looks like he wants to go straight for that Spinecrawler now. Cham trying to intercept, the Spinecrawler goes down. And now these Banelings are looking for an opening. They don't quite get it, but a bunch of the Lings getting a wrap around the Queen there, nearly taking one out. There's just a couple seconds off of transfuse energy on both these Queens. The Natural's in a lot of trouble though.
It's in some trouble here. It's not actually essential to hold on to this. It's a game winner if you do. actually getting this around here. There's that first transfusion. Another transfusion is available, but it's going to be the healthy queen that takes that slight transfusion. Good positioning there from Cham. And all of a sudden, Nerchio's attack is starting to dry up here a little bit. So if you look at the production tab, look for drones from Nerchio. That'll be the signal that he's done. But right now, he's putting the gas on. He does get a surround on that queen, and that queen does not have a transfusion to bail it out. Gets the next queen. The positioning of this disastrous for Cham. I go from liking it to hating it all of a sudden. There's Lings inside that mineral line. And this could be curtains.
Yeah, this Baneling's going to hurt a lot of these drones. The Ling's going to do the rest here. It's just starting to spiral out of control. Huge Baneling hit there. A lot of those drones, just a couple nibbles away from dead. The other queen nearly gets the block off with the Lings, but yeah, this is just so much damage. Just a couple of Lings being broken off to finish off those hurt drones. GG, and Nerchio gets game number 1. He seems pretty happy with it as well.
He does, and he should. He was in a situation where I do believe if Cham just really holds that ramp and doesn't try to commit too much to defending that second hatchery, third, fourth queen comes out. Any Lings in addition to that makes for a really, really tough ramp to crack. But Cham tried to hold on to the natural. It goes down, gives up the positioning, and Nerchio, you give the guy just a little bit of an opening, and he will pounce on it. And it was incredibly pivotal that Nerchio does, by the way. Again, killing that hatchery would kind of reset it, which is what you kind of talked about, which this opening is very all-in-ish. But if you kill that hatchery, you kind of trade out fairly evenly. There is a bit of a reset there. But by getting the queens and, of course, winning the game thereafter, that's the ultimate goal for Nerchio, so not bad.
It's all about winning that game, and he smelt like he had an opening there and completely called it. Did a great job there, getting a very fast game 1 in our best of 5. More games to come, of course. I actually felt like Nerchio was kind of playing against his image in that game a little bit, because Nerchio is kind of that, that macro Zerg that has his timings. He wants to go to 3 hatcheries. He wants to play the longer games generally. But I think that little cheeky grin there is he's pretty happy that he fooled Cham there. That's not something that Cham probably would have expected for game 1.
No, certainly not. He didn't expect that. But the kind of funny thing, too, is if, Nerchio is very active on Twitter. He posts actually on Team Liquid. He's one of the more vocal pro gamers publicly. He'll tell you that ZvZ is a bit of a coin flip. There's a lot. There is some RNG there. And this is kind of that. You cannot really be I'm just a straight up macro Zerg. I never cheese, I never do speed lanes. That doesn't really work. You do have to mix it up. And this is where we start to see a lot of that experience. They talked about the storied year that Cham has had, a couple of round of 8s, and then one tournament where he fell off a little bit. That's all nice, fine, and good. But Nerchio's been making round of 8s, round of 1s, and doing everything in between since, 2010. He's one of the most extremely successful but also experienced pro gamers we have in StarCraft 2, and you can kind of see it showing. It is just one game in, so I don't want to go too far with this, but the idea of him deciding, you know what would really mess up Cham, who's coming into this probably as the aggressor, that would be to strike first blood with some cheesy aggression there, and he did.
Yeah, and Nerchio actually, not only has he been solid since 2010, he's been solid this year. He's already a lock for the global finals.
Yeah.
He's got so many points from getting second place in Austin, a bunch of strong finishes in the other WCS finals. But Cham on the other side of the stage here, I mean, every time I think about Cham and ZvZ, I think about that incredible series against Snoot at WCS Jönköping, that incredible game 5, the Nidus play. This really gives me chills. But let's introduce the players. The bottom left here, the player in question. This is Cham! And the top right, currently 1 up. This is Nerchio. He seems to have the crowd here in Montreal.
Nerchio having a good year, as you said, very successful as always. I don't think there's ever really been a year where Nerchio hasn't at least made appearances in deep runs of tournaments. But he seems to kind of come into his own here as well in this WCS system, where he's been a constant force, placing very well. Like you said, he's a lock to be at BlizzCon. That's a very big deal. There's only a couple players who were able to achieve that without winning a tournament. And now here he is facing Cham in a ZvZ matchup, one that he's very familiar with. We always talk about this, but Nerchio rises above as one of the premier Zergs in a European scene that features a lot of extremely premier and very good Zergs. And then what I would say is the kind of added layer of difficulty is there's a bunch of Zergs that people don't really consider mega premier, but are still very good at ZvZ. The scene is just absolutely saturated with them. And we saw some of them do fairly well here. I'm thinking of like a Zanster, a Lambo. These are Zerg players that, again, don't really win tournaments, but always make pretty good, well, not always, but they make very good appearances. And it's off of, a lot of times, that strong ZvZ. So Cham, the big surprise of the year, is going to need a bigger surprise to uproot this Nerchio player.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that it's beyond shadow of a doubt that if Cham wins the series, it would be an upset. And it's something Cham needs if he wants any hope of making it to the big stage at the end of the year in November.
Yep.
But, yeah.
One of the cool storylines. He has to get top 2.
That's right.
For a chance. I mean, that's...
For a chance.
Those are tough odds. That's something he hasn't done yet. He has to literally play better than he ever has before. And that could be like the theme song or mantra for this tournament. Is there's a bunch of players that have had good years, but need to have their best WCS Montreal to be at that big final. And now if we look at the builds, though, Cham is going to have that kind of almost like the repercussions of game number 1. A spine crawler right now, there's not a lot of indication on the map. He's seeing some lings come out. But this is, you know, look at this as the psychological damage. That's him saying, I'm not sure if I missed other lings. I'm going to play it safe because to go down 0-2 is to be basically almost dead, unless you're Scarlet, basically. and he's going to cancel it because he doesn't see additional lings coming out. But you can already see the impact from game 1.
Yeah, he's playing like defensive blindly here, just in case maneuvers.
He has to, yeah.
4 lings coming in here from Nerchio, one getting picked off at the Queens, but they will get into main and have a big scout. And meanwhile, behind this, on the other side of the map, he sees a lair as well. It's a massive scout. Cham coming in here to deny this third base. Looks like he's probably going to be able to get it. Nerchio doesn't have too much at home. But denying the third base isn't the hugest deal, as Nerchio still has a decent drone count and as many bases as Cham here. But yeah, he's going to cancel that.
The timing on those lings were brutal because he was like, maybe I can get this queen and the hatch, but then the ling showed up there. He's going to go ahead and trade this out a little bit. Any attack on that queen is a waste at this point in time because it's not going to be followed up. But the lair getting scouted was a big deal, as you pointed out, Maynard, because that, of course, is a bit of a fork in the road. That's different. That's a fast lair. And we can already see the Roach Warren as part of the Wallen at the natural. I don't know that that's necessarily... I mean, you can actually go Roach Speed and take a third off of that. You can also go Spire. So all of a sudden, Cham's going to be a little bit different here. And if you think back... Wow, actually, Nidus Worm. And this was actually a big part of what made that Cham Snoot series so good, like you referenced earlier at Young Shaping. I know we keep talking about that, guys, and for a lot of you, you're like, I'm never going to go look up a ZvZ.
Oh,
please.
That was good, ZvZ.
Check it out. It was amazing.
Do yourselves a favor. Cham getting supply blocks a little bit here, unfortunately. He's going to hit his production. But, I mean, one of the powerful things, one of the reasons why he's going Nidus here is because of Mech Depot and how the main works. It is such a huge main, and you don't have vision of all of it unless you spread creep. So Cham does have an Overlord in a lovely position here, but Nerchio is starting to use this last Overlord to get the edge of the main, and he sees the Nidus Worm.
And that's big. Before that, he was not building any units. He's actually supply blocked himself. Is that 3 Overlords? No, he's not supply blocked, but he's building up the Overlord.
Earlier.
I don't know if he sees it, but does he see it? Okay, he's waiting for the Roach Warren. 5 Roaches coming out for himself, but Cham's going to have the initiative, and the top of this ramp's really key positioning. It's very hard to get up there. You only have to separate a few units into that mineral line, but you can see some Roaches being made in there. A Spinecrawler as well. Nice reaction so far from Nerchio, but will be enough?
Oh, that's the big question, and a lot of Cham's Nidus Worm unloaded here. Nerchio didn't have the units he wanted just yet. The main is in a lot of trouble.
He's already surrounding on those roaches. As they pop out, they're coming out into a world of violence. He's going to get behind that mineral line where the drones are not mining. Everything is pulled here. Nerchio has to do a defense. Right now, Transfusion going down to the front queen. It is going to survive. Another Transfusion goes down there as well. Spinecrawler trying to get uprooted and pushed over here, but there just is too much Cham as the supply differential is huge. Nerchio taps out, and Cham strikes back.
He's out of there. Smile for the camera, and Cham ties it up.
These are some smiley Zergs.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
It's nice to see the stone wall of Artur get cracked a little bit there because he's not a physically emotional player, King Artur on the right hand side of the screen.
Well, I mean, to your point, you see a little bit of a shoulder shake there. I don't want to read too much into it, but I believe what that translates to is, well played, Cham. You're a brilliant tactician. That was a good move, and I think you're an admirable opponent. Just loosely going off of it, I've seen a couple of shoulder shakes in my day.
Yeah. You're very good at reading body language.
You know, it comes with time. I'm an old redwood of a man. But nice decision there from Cham. And interesting, like I said, this is something we saw in his previous ZvZs. In fact, I guess we're going to reference this to death, but it's one of my favorite ZvZs of all time. Snoot actually defended that strategy in a similar way, just was able to kind of pull it off a little bit better. And what was interesting, too, was Cham went into the mineral line, and that became the one critical mistake because then all the drones drilled into it. They got us around. They did some stop positioning, and the fewer and fewer queens and roaches were able to make that defense. And if that attack dies, I mean, it's an all-in. You don't lose those queens, you don't lose those roaches and come back and win in most cases unless you do incredible damage. But very nice, putting it on the line. And look at this, too, by the way. Our Zergs, you back them into a corner like Scarlet. She loses a couple of games. What do? They start cheesing.
Yeah.
Cham too, man. He'll do it.
Yeah. And that's honestly like how Nerchio opened game 1 is how I expected Cham to open the series, to be honest. And we may see it again. In the bottom right here, winning game number 2. Will he win game number 3? This is Cham! A handsome fella, I gotta say.
He's pulling off the blue light better than most, I would say.
Yeah, better than most. And that's up left here. This is Nerchio! Could not be more excited to be in game number 3 here.
I mean, we make a lot of jokes because, you know, in the past, Nerchio was one of those guys that just didn't care much for the interview, didn't care much for the camera. But lately, I got to give a tip of the hat to Nerchio. He's in all these interviews. We saw with Mao, we see with Smix in the past. It's actually Nerchio that gives some of the more cheeky, funny answers. Very honest. He's always been very honest, maybe a little bit too honest. But he's become a pretty great personality. It's nice to see the growth of these players, too. It's been, you know, we're 7 long years of StarCraft 2 professional play, and some of these guys we've been watching for that whole time, which makes me feel really weird too, because it's like, how old are you, Nerchio? You must be 30. He's like, I'm 24.
He started playing when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like since Nerchio got picked up by Red Bull, his social media has actually been really fun. Like his Twitter's been like that dry humor. He's been having a good time with it, which I like to see. He's generally been a pretty quiet guy up until 2017.
Yeah, it's good. And it's nice too. But imagine if he was sponsored by like Monster, how much more fun he would be and just more funny, you know?
Some brands are just better than others, I suppose.
I suppose. But in this game, we're going to see kind of a return to normalcy a little bit. If you look at the production tab, it is almost a mirror image of itself. This is both players kind of falling back. They said, all right, listen, let's cool it down here a little bit. Both had our chance to smile at the camera. Now let's really decide who's going to win. This becomes a best of 3 in this best of 5. Nerchio already guaranteed to go to BlizzCon. We talked about that, but of course the honor of winning this tournament, showing your form, and getting, you know, $25,000 wouldn't be bad either. But it's Cham. Cham, who I love what Todd was talking about. Nobody was expecting him to have the year that he's had. But still, if he just loses here, it's like, yeah, what a great year. But nothing to really stamp on. It's no tournament win, no giant prize pool, and no BlizzCon. So he's got a lot to fight for.
That's right. So he does kind of have that underdog safety net where it's
there it is again.
Yeah, spine crawling. You can cancel that. It's only a 25 mineral investment when you cancel it, so it's not a huge deal. It's just waiting to see this ramp, see what's coming out of Nerchio. Nerchio's going like this is the Nerchio that I love and expect. When I saw it at Mech Depot, just fast 3 hatch, macro play, big armies, aiming for the mid game clearly.
Yep. Nerchio is one of my favorite players to watch because he truly plays. You know, StarCraft is always known for how mechanical of a game it is, but StarCraft 2, even more so, I would say, is also known as like a strategy game. It's a game where you're playing against your opponent just as much. You're making choices off of limited to no information, oftentimes. And Nerchio's just coming ahead here. I know he just lost the last game. That was really nice by Cham, who did make the better choice. But you can see the small things that Nerchio's doing: the fast 3rd hatch, the difference in builds. He's been shaking it up each game. He is a tough opponent in that way.
Very, very tough. Evolution Chamber being the first structure here for Cham after the spawning pool. And I wonder if he's going for fast ling upgrades or something else here. Nerchio looked like he wanted to go for a Baneling Nest, canceled it, and got himself an Evo Chamber instead. Yeah. And Cham actually getting a Roach Warren after the Evo. So this is interesting from Cham.
Yeah, this seems to be his go-to.
And Nerchio's going to scout this with that 1 ling here on the wall. Comes in, sees what's up. The Queens say, get out of here. He's not going to see anything more critical than that. He's not going to see that lair.
Lings. So I love this. Well, a couple of drones. Maybe it's just defensive. There's no lair, I think, for Cham. So what Cham's doing right now is he's showing Nerchio the same thing Nerchio saw last game. And I think he's hoping to get him to panic a little bit about another Nidus attack. But that being said, oh wow.
Nerchio nearly getting
double pump themselves, actually.
Nearly got the main. Oh, get up, get up, get up, get up. He does get in there. He sees no lair. Sees the spread of the drones there. Nothing else critical. So he knows that Cham is making something. And it's getting across the map here. It's just a ton of links from Cham. 3rd hatchery being dropped on the back of this. He knows that Nerchio needs to have units back at home to defend, so that's a pretty safe 3rd hatchery here. And Nerchio's 3rd may not be as safe.
No, and it ends up being a little bit of an exchange, because if you look tier 2, Nerchio's got a good worker lead. That worker lead is diminishing because behind these lings, Cham is actually building his own drone. So this is a little bit of the ebb and flow of ZvZ. It's a nice move from Cham, but if he didn't do this with the lings that he pumped out, then he's just infinitely behind. But because he did do this, now it's Nerchio that has, you know, it just goes back and forth that way. But Cham's actually going to have his own 3rd canceled here. And this is the nice double move from Nerchio. A lot of players would be very overly concerned with the fact that they couldn't get over here to do this. But Nerchio is going to say, nope, I think I got enough units to split them off and actually cancel your third while defending it my natural.
Pretty fantastic to get that third for Nerchio. I mean, obviously, he had to be cancelled there. The other one, Nerchio's got killed. Queen nearly getting killed, but not quite. And Nerchio's actually, he has Lair, so he can get faster roach speed with Cham. I'm not sure if he has Lair just yet. He does, okay. So he's just a little bit behind. But Nerchio's going to have roach speed a little bit earlier, which could come into play when the roaches start to headbutt each other. See, the upgrades, though, the +1 attack in favor of Cham is pretty huge, though.
It's a big deal. And Cham is able to, he has got an army lead here. He's taking the third about the same time because of the reset between the two hatcheries. And all of a sudden, it's Nerchio that's down in supply. He's up 3 workers, but behind massively in army. And like you said, that +1 range attack is finishing up right now. And all of a sudden, Nerchio, I mean, if you lose your third here, especially if you try to defend it, that's game. If you don't try to defend it, it very well could be game anyway. So a hard choice being made for Nerchio here.
Much easier for Nerchio to reinforce this defensive location. And Cham is biding his time. He broke up his links to try and go for the natural. The third is trying to be hit by the roaches here of Cham. Nerchio meets that with his own roach force. Both players are kind of like 2 mirror images, like Link and Dark Link from the original Zelda that's on 64, just fighting each other. Mirroring the attacks, mirroring the army. Everything looks very, very close. That's, we do see Cham starting to pull away a little bit in drones, though. Trying to saturate that third a little bit quicker.
All right. I would have gone with Duran and Nerud to keep it in the StarCraft 2 universe, but Maynard, I appreciate that sometimes you delve into the other games.
Look, there was one time back in the late 90s when I turned my console on. So,
passion completely gone as far as I'm concerned. But as you said, both players are equalizing here. +2 attack, very similar in terms of timing. Infestation Pit going to be the diversification here versus the Hydra Den of Cham. So those fungal growths, those infestors potentially very strong if they get to back lines. Hydras don't like damage very much. But before that, we're going to have some feel me out times. Now, looking at the map, by the way, if you can get up on top of that ramp, you've got yourself a situation where you can fight. But a lot of times, that's not actually doable going up that ramp. If you have a concave of roaches and hydras or infestors, that kind of stuff, very hard to get up there.
Very true.
There's a ramp all the way up and down the map, too.
Yeah, like you said, the fungal growth married up with the corrosive biles is a fantastic way to make your army as efficient as possible in ZvZ. But Cham is just going for the big damage output army, and he's also got double Evo chamber, so he's going to have upgrade advantages over Nerchio for pretty much the whole game. Whereas Nerchio is just going to have to look down to his spellcaster units to make him win engagements.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, of course, when you go infestor like this, the kind of nice thing is you can swing back to the Hydras. The only thing you'd be missing there is the faster upgrades. Your attack potential's not as great. This guy won't die, man.
Yes.
Hard to kill. Steven Seagal, the Overlord. No!
GG. Nerchio wins.
Well,
in all seriousness, bit of damage done there. It was a nice little dance, but the game continues. Both players just pumping their army out. We got Cham hitting that army supply nearly at 100 in army, but the damage output of these Hydras is the only concern I have for Nerchio. He is going to have Hydras of his own as time goes on, but I'm more worried about these Infestors. To be honest, I'd much rather be the guy with Roach Ravager Infestor against the guy with Roach Hydra. I got to be honest, because you lock those Hydras down, they can be kept at the back and out of harm's way for the attacking player, and then you just hit them with piles.
And then the Hydra Den's finishing anyways, so like I said, Nerchio can't really attack anytime soon because it doesn't make sense to make Hydras and not have the upgrade and try to push out. But defensively, that's fine. And when these upgrades do finish, to your point, I agree. The 4 or 5 infestors with their fungal, and especially with how much time's going to go off, they'll have a couple of fungals each, probably. That's going to be a very big deal. A very big deal. Now, if Cham can hit an attack before that, that could be interesting.
Sure.
Because then the Hydras that Nerchio's making behind this are actually bad. They're behind roaches, they're behind infestors, they don't have range, they're not getting into the fight nearly as well, so kind of just taking up supply and not doing much.
Infestors are on the way here to reinforce this defense of Nerchio. He sees Cham moving across the map towards that 4th hatchery, repositioning his army, maybe looking for the 3rd instead. Go very, very dangerous to got the ramp against the guy that does have these infestors, which Cham does see with the Overseer. He only has 1 with his army, though, so he has to be very, very careful.
He sees the infestors, though, and I have to imagine that tells him he's not going to go up any of these ramps. I mean, if he goes up that ramp, there's no way around it. You're clumped. He's going to come out over here on the flank. He does get over there. This is a 4th base.
That's a big
huge concave.
Yeah, big spread of units. This can be tough to fungal it all to pieces here for Nerchio. There's a bit of a wonky engagement. Whoa. Lovely fungal on the left, but he's going to need to do better than that to fight back here. Cham with a big army.
Oh my God.
That is a lovely fungal and corrosive pile there from Nerchio.
Very nice from Nerchio. He's actually just surgically grabbing clumps of this. He lobs for the infested parent.
Man.
He should lose the hatchery if he gets targeted almost at all. He's going to back up just a little bit and trying to get past there, understanding the infestors probably don't have any energy, is Cham. He's going for a lot here. He's got a pretty big supply advantage, and a lot of that is in the reinforcements coming over, which is scary because what's here is actually a lot for Nerchio to handle. The hatchery does die, which means there is going to be that economic advantage for Cham and even production advantage as well.
Yeah, exactly. The hatchery is not only the income facility, is the production facility for Zerg. Matters so much to keep those alive, especially in the mirrors. And those infestors all died, by the way, and Nerchio hasn't replenished them. So it's all about the Roach Ravager Hydra Wars now.
Well, you say that, but it could be Lurkers as well, as we see a couple of them being morphed in here, and they are a difference maker. Roaches have a very tough time with them. Now, Ravagers can target them down and do that, but in the chaos of battle, it's a little bit rough because also the bigger hit for those Ravagers ideally is clumped up units. They do have an AoE damage there, but if you're going after Lurkers, it takes a few shots, it takes a few volleys, sometimes you miss. It can get rough.
Sure can. Looks like Cham's going to break off some roaches and try and cancel this double expansion attempt from Nerchio. Oh, he doesn't cancel that. It's a straight up kill on that hatchery.
And he doesn't have like $1 million bank either, so it's a little bit costly.
Yeah, it actually matters quite a lot here. The ramp a little bit tough for Cham to get up though. Try and cancel that other hatchery, but he does have more units, and the Lurkers are in position. Where's the Overseers from Nerchio? He actually can't do anything about it.
He doesn't have an Overseer just yet. He's going to go ahead and morph one right there, but that's in the... Well, okay, he's got one over there on the right side as well. But denying this fourth base for longer and longer becomes more of an issue. Look at the bank of Cham. He's maxed out, so he's going to go ahead and be able to remax pretty quickly. Nerchio maxed out, but not dumping as much money into his reserves. I will say this, Nerchio is doing a good job with those corrosive biles, excuse me. He's going to go for a bit of a flank here, trying to get into that soft underbelly. But the Lurkers on the right side, well, they're isolated. The whole army's surrounded here. Is it going to be enough from Nerchio? Cham's trying to get out of here, but it is danger alley. He's losing so many units. He drops massively in supply. And the Lurkers at the top of the ramp are good, but they weren't participating in the fight. Now, Cham does have a bank, like we said, so he's going to be able to try and replenish. But look at the supply difference. It's going to be Lurkers or nothing here.
Absolutely, these Lurkers are going to need to be critical for Cham. Nerchio has 60-odd army supply up on Cham right now, and he's just going for it. And this is the right call, by the way. Sitting back and expanding is not going to get the job done here. One of the Overseers goes down. Just one left for Nerchio in this attack. The Lurkers sieging up and making things tough for Nerchio.
Yeah, this has got to be a bit of a game of whack-a-mole. If he can't get on the top of a ramp because Lurkers keep repositioning really well, then time can be bought and Cham can equalize in terms of army, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. In fact, he's getting pretty confident trying to push down below that ramp. I wouldn't advise it. A little splinter of an army from Nerchio at 12 o'clock is going to try to make its way to that expansion, and let's see what gets split over there. Some Lurkers going over there, but there are actually Overseers here as well.
Yeah, it looks like actually all the Lurkers are up here. Cham's entire army pulling back to hit this as Nerchio's rest of his army reinforces this attack. The Lurkers are just out of range of this concave of Nerchio as well. So it's just the Roaches and the Hydras. Lurkers moving up a little bit. Corrosive Biles hitting them. They are damaged, but they're still alive.
12 o'clock is taking some damage here. Some of the drones did go down. Corrosive Biles are starting to land on those Hydras. The Lurkers not being repositioned means that they're not participating in the fight, so it's just basically dead supply. Nerchio is being surgical with these forces. He hasn't quite gotten that base just yet, though. Well, it looks like he's working on it. Hydras are now going to fight here. There's not a lot of insulation. Lurkers again get repositioned, and the base does go down. Now, behind this, Nerchio did take his own fourth base as well, so he's trying to take that lead back for himself.
He's also getting Vipers thrown in here to be able to either Blighting Cloud or abduct those Lurkers and pull them into his ball of Zerg units and mince them to pieces. Or acid spray them, I guess, depending on what units he has.
I guess both get the job done there. Nerchio actually had Burrow for a while, but just now got Tunneling Claws on his Roaches, so a little bit of a mistiming there. He was under duress, so it's excusable. Now behind this, more Lurkers are being made, but one of the things you touched on there, Maynard, is that Blinding Cloud on top of Lurkers will shut them down. And that could be a big deal. Also abducts, yeah, it's kind of cool, but I'm looking for the Blinding Cloud. A lot of times too, when the Blinding Cloud goes down on your army, you automatically move forward. If you can move closer into the teeth of Nerchio's army, that can be a big issue as well.
And Lurkers are the trump card here for Cham at the moment, so Nerchio counters them. Could be looking in a good place, and of course he is on Hive a lot earlier than Cham.
Better upgrades.
So he can get the better upgrades, that's right. So Cham at the moment does have the better upgrades, but of course attack upgrades matter a whole lot more in ZvZ than armor.
He's going to leave behind a single Lurker. Interesting choice. If there's no Overseer over here, yeah, I guess you just can't chase over there. Nerchio's army is a little bit out of position. The top of the ramp could get taken here. The Lurkers are going to burrow. There is that Blinding Cloud. He's going to have to reposition if he wants them to participate. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's fighting back here. Nerchio's just going to try to muscle up here, but Blinding Clouds keep dislodging the Lurkers. They're going to burrow just now. Nerchio trying to jump on top of them. Here comes the Lurkers, but
That's so many lurkers, though. They're doing a lot of damage, but Nerchio is taking the high ground away from Cham here, taking a lot of the lurkers out of the army as well. Cham's couple lurkers are left over looking for anything, but really, they're kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, they got to fall back. Supply advantage continues to be in Nerchio's favor, although I think at times it was a larger supply advantage. Now, the nice thing about those Vipers is, of course, they're not going to die anytime soon unless the Hydras focus on it. Well, okay, never mind. What? I didn't see them die.
Yeah, I guess
there goes all my... You know what? You got it, Maynard. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. A solo cast here from Maynard.
No, it's a little bit sloppy then. I would tell you. I mean, the only way they die is flying over the Hydras, which is completely unnecessary.
That's probably what happened. That's the only...
Well, it had to have.
It had to have, yeah. So, bit of a move command maybe from Nerchio there. He is remaking them, though. He knows that they're very important. So, actually, because he has Hive, and now he's getting a Lurker Den, Nerchio's going to have defense and offense against this army here of Cham. And Cham's going to be in a tight spot if he doesn't marry this up very soon with something else.
Yeah, this is the problem with going Lurkers like Cham did. Like, Nerchio just never gave him the engagement he was looking for. So Cham's been constantly trying to, like, kind of force this issue. Like, I need Lurkers to work. And so far, they've been nice in keeping him alive, but he's falling further behind. That +3 attack is going to be big. Vipers throughout the game are going to be a big issue as well. So what's Cham's X factor? I maybe burrow roaches or something. He needs to... I don't see him getting it done just with this over and over again.
Blinding Cloud on that Lurker there at Cham, and he has to reposition it. The Vipers are here, and Nerchio actually surrounds this with an army of his own. Cham punches a hole through Nerchio's offense here, or defense rather, and pulls out, but not before losing a lot of his very, very expensive units. Yeah,
I mean, that was brutal. So the supply advantage was in favor of Nerchio. Now it's just widened into a pretty big deal. And there's no bank for Cham. So Cham is taking a 5th base up there. If he's able to saturate that, that's nice, but it's at the mercy of Nerchio. He's getting closer and closer, and that is what the 5th base does on this map. So it's a little bit harder to be defensive. And now with Blinding Clouds, it's not like Nerchio has no say in attacking into Lurkers. He can just shut them down, make them have to pull back, and every time they pull back, they're getting further away from that hatchery that he needs to maintain.
Yeah, his tech's so much better. I mean, Cham has this massive gas tank because he doesn't have those gas sinks like Infestors, like Vipers. He can't spend that gas on things other than Roach, Hydra, and Lurker. This hatchery is very, very low because it's been consumed by the Vipers. So Cham finishes it off, and that's a nice pick-off, but he's going to need to probably end the game with this army if he wants to win this one. Nerchio pulls back to crush what's left of these roaches.
Nice little confusion play, and like you said, buying time. He's still down about 50 supply. Here comes a lot of Lurkers. He's going to need to spread them out, but when he spreads them out too, their damage output goes down the drain. And against Roach Hydra, yeah, you know, I mean, anything attacking a Lurker is going to have a rough time, but that is one of the army comps that, especially if you're spread out, can deal with it. And now I think Nerchio sees it. He says, okay, look, you just lost a bunch of roaches like 2 times now to kill that one base. I have the tools to deal with this. Let's go.
Yeah, he has the technology, he has the supply. Oh, he needs to be very, very careful with these Vipers. Doesn't want to get them picked off. Blinding Cloud's going down. The Hydralists of Cham looking for those Viper pickoffs.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird fight over here. Like that, a strong part of what makes Nerchio's army so much more powerful are those Vipers, and they just kind of wasted their time over there. But 12 o'clock seems to be going pretty well.
Oh, these Lurkers kind of getting moving forward a little bit too far there.
Yeah.
And Nerchio pre-spreads these units and just takes them all out. As well as his hatchery. Yeah, that's a huge engagement win there for Nerchio. Cham's just going for the throat here, right, looking for another hatchery, maybe looking for more drone kills. But I don't know if he's going to be able to end the game with this army. He's been struggling to reinforce this army more and more as time goes on because of the fact that Nerchio just keeps taking such incredible engagements over and over again.
Yeah, Nerchio played the better strategy game here, even burrowing the drones. He's just so smart. That army gets cleaned up, and with it, Cham tapped out. Nerchio goes up 2-1 in this best of 5 and is on match point.
Yeah, match point. One more map here for King Arthur, and he will find himself in the round of 8. And Cham will be excused from the tournament. Yet another round of 8 for Nerchio, and Cham looking for his first. Well, I think he made it in Austin, but a repeat performance.
Round of 8, he's made 2 round of 8s.
That's right. And it would be his only hope to get into that top 2 to, of course, get towards BlizzCon. It looks like we're going to head over to the desk with the guys to see what's going on before we get into game number 4.
Yes, we are. Thank you very much, as Nerchio leads 2-1 currently in this series. And game number 3 there for him. I mean, game number 1 and 2 Zombie Grub were kind of just a bit of back and forth of some of the early game pressures from one another. But then that game number 3 really solidified a lot of Nerchio's later game potential and power.
That was kind of the question, too. Like, he had that really strong start with the early pool in the first game. Like, okay, that's what I expected. The second game, it was Cham. And I just from him, and that was some nice aggression there. But the third game was a test of the late game, and people were like, oh, I think Cham actually, might have the upper edge there. No, Nerchio, still a very good Zerg player, takes it in the late game, late game.
Can Cham kind of rival him in those later stages, do you think? Or is it just going to have to be Cham having to be aggressive in the later games?
I think so. I think he has to make good stuff happen in the early game and then from there gain some sort of momentum. But like I said, Nerchio, I really feel like in ZvZ he's really stepped up his game because he was probably quite tired of losing, you know, in those mirrors here and there at times. So Nerchio's looking really good right now for sure. I've got another game here that I'd like to talk about. It's true against DNS. I've got a moment from game 2. So 2 Oracles just killed a lot of drones here, 16. Actually, DNS at this stage hadn't lost any units. +1 melee is about to finish, and True, he goes for a true attack here, pretty much, where mass links are attacking that base, queens are being dropped. Actually, when I saw this, I loved it. I was like, you know what? It's so smart to put the robos there, because if you put them up there, they're like kind of, you know, at the front, and they might die during an attack. And at first, during this attack, I thought that this was going really bad for DNS, but then all of a sudden, I'm going to speed it up here a little bit. It starts going better, and then True is like, oh, I got to evacuate. So I was like, wow, DNS has defended. I guess he's won the game, 47 walkers to 35. No. 1 unit in the wall. The floodgates are open. Links come in. They start killing everything. These guys are trapped. There is no prism to set them free. Mothership core died, so there is no recall option. They're going to have to break out of there. So from there, basically, DNS just starts on losing too much and loses the game. Went on to lose game 3 as well. That was a 3-0 for True, who mixed in some Udas in game 3, which was great because in game 1 he went Mass Roach. So he focused on ground the first 2 games, and in game 3 he was like, you're going to make Mass Immortals, I bet. Sure enough, DNS did. Udas killed everything.
Nice, nice. And now we move back into game number 4 here between Nerchio and Cham. Cham at the moment really needs to win this series if he wants to keep his BlizzCon hopes alive, because he needs to go very, very far in this tournament. But Nerchio looking formidable and looking strong. Over to our commentary team once again for game number 4.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalaris. And of course, game 4 about to happen on stage here for WCS Montreal. Lovely crowd, lovely atmosphere, lovely energy. And familiar faces as well as we get into game 4. Man, is Cham, does he have the gusto to be able to tie this up to make it all the way to the game 5? Or will Nerchio take this in a 3-1? Let's find out. In the bottom right here, this is Cham! And it's up left on match point. This is Nerchio. I need healing.
That is some sick, sick cosplay. Well done there from both you guys. And I have to agree, Montreal has been amazing. Beautiful city, lovely people, and a great tournament. We've had some good matchups. We had some comebacks. Scarlet still alive. The fanboy in me, the person that wants a hype crowd and great matchups, is very excited about that. I think we do have Massa playing later today, if I'm not mistaken, who's another pseudo-Canadian as well. I mean, I guess he's just straight up a Canadian. It's just he also is a citizen of another place. Whenever there's dual citizenship, I'm like, you're cheating. That's too much. All right.
It's actually the next series, believe it or not.
Very good.
So it'll be Massa versus a Laser.
That'll be awesome.
Oh, yeah. TVZ hype. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. We still have the ZvZ to get through here with Nerchio going for a greedier opening here, and Cham going for the earlier pull on 1 base, taking him out of gas after getting speed.
Yep. I mean, what is one of the ingredients in every single Mexican dish you could ever order? It's, of course, cheese.
Cheese, yes.
You cannot get past anything. You're like, that's not true, Jeff. I once ordered a taco salad, and no, that had cheese too, young person. All right, they all have cheese, and here we go. He's going to make a bunch of links. He's going to hold him back. Maybe even a late expansion. He's going to sneak him out, actually. I'd like him just to reinforce and go all in on this. And this is crazy. We talked about this. He loses this game, he's out. Doesn't matter what True's doing on the same side of the bracket, excuse me. And it's going to be Lings coming out defensively here from Nerchio, who has no idea this is happening. This is just kind of what he does. We saw even defensive spine crawlers coming out from Cham because of how common this kind of an opening is.
This opening from Cham is not meant to end the game. It's meant to just kill the natural or do a ton of damage to the natural so that you're ahead when you get into the mid game because you have your own hatchery back at home. But it's, you know, it is defendable. You can still save your natural here, as Nerchio has done before. Will he do it again? A lot more links being made here from Cham.
Yep. Oh my God, he even dodges the scouting Zergling.
Wow. Nerchio's not going to see them until they're on the edge of the creep here, and here they are, straight into the natural.
Yeah. Oh, and he gets a surround of the queen. That's actually a huge deal. That's part of what's going to try and get up with the ramp. That's not a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. That's timed out. That's expert play by Cham. Well done. Another queen's going to come down here. And little does Nerchio know, these are not the only lanes. Across the map comes a streak of blue. And Nerchio's going to try and take that positioning to hold. But in doing so, he's given up his chance of holding the ramp. Now, the lanes have been whittled down here a little bit. Is it going to be enough?
Reinforcements from Cham saying probably here, as this other queen's in a lot of trouble. She's found as best a spot as she can, but it's not enough. 2 queens have been picked off here from Cham. He's going for the baneling nest as well. Oh. Will it finish in time for Nerchio?
Yeah.
Squeeze out a couple banes.
He's not going to make him. Oh, yeah, 3 up in the main, it looks like, or maybe above that ramp. Baneling nest does end up dying, but of course that spawns broodlings. It's a little bit problematic. Another queen pops out. And actually with the broodlings and lings, Cham might have made a big mistake here. He does go after the banelings and is able to cancel them out. He's making his own baneling nest. He's pretty all in on this.
Yeah, he is now, for sure. Making that baneling nest, making more and more lings. No drones from Cham.
And he's only down 5 workers, though, and his natural does finish. So this is that situation where he could build drones behind this and equalize, but he's going to pour it on. He's making more lings in his own baneling nest, probably hoping that Nerchio, again, is kind of lacking information on what's going on the other side. Do we see queen count? Because if it's about injects at this point in time, too, for project.
1 apiece.
Okay, so they're equal in that way. Baneling's coming in here for Cham.
Second queen now as well for an extra inject, so that also matters. Offensive banelings being made here by Nerchio. Cham, of course, has these defensive banelings in position already.
Oh, Nerchio might have gotten too fancy. He does this. We talked about this last game. He splinters off Zerglings, but he might have miscalculated. Here come the banelings.
I think you're right.
They're trying to go to the top of the ramp.
Oh, some good baneling pickups though, but there is still 1 left, and Cham has a ton of lings left as well. He's going straight for the main, straight for the throat of Nerchio. Can he do it here in game 4?
Well, he whiffed on the baneling. It didn't get the connection he needed. It's still in there, actually. And he's not doing the damage just yet. Nerchio brought the lings back, important to note, so he's not getting damage done on the other side of the map, but he's ahead in workers. He doesn't have to deal that damage. And now 2 queens walking up here to try and shut this down. The main base has been dislodged, but it's Cham who's behind. He needs damage here in a big way.
Yeah, this needs to work here. The single baneling from Cham's he's been trying so hard to keep it alive, but there it goes. Actually, unfortunate control there. It does go down. Nerchio goes for a counterattack. Cham's reinforcements deal with Nerchio's attack, but he's still just going for it. A nice baneling pickoff. He has to keep doing that over and over again. Oh, man. Cham, watch out!
Careful! That might have done it.
It may have.
He's down 17 supplies, behind armies, behind workers. He's building nothing but lings and banelings behind this. He needs a massive return baneling to hit. Is that the baneling that's going to do it? Well, I guess the answer is kinda. Not super amazing there, but it's okay. But Cham's got to do it. He's doing it all with all-out aggression. Nerchio snuck out a few more drones, by the way, which if he's not punished for, I mean, that's just going to be it. He's even sending some lings to really try to steal the deal.
He has doubled the army supply almost, so it's worth for Nerchio to do this. Break them off, catch some reinforcements as the lings trickle in. When they're not balled in together. Speaking of balled in together, 4 banes here looking for a connection. They get softened up here and they're just taken out. And that's it. GG. Nerchio gets his 3-1 victory and will go to the round of 8.
Gotta give respect to Nerchio for his amazing play in Zerg versus Zerg. Pulling out units and sending them to places that get him maximum return. Very, very well done. And Cham, it's been a nice year. You've shown us you're a great player. You gotta make way for the king.
That's right. Hail to the king, long may he reign. Gets himself a win on stage, and will actually play another ZvZ in the round of 8 against True, who 3-0 DNS earlier. So let's go to Melbourne stage with a winner with our interview. The interview with our winner. Let me try that again. Nerchio.
Maybe it's my intro that's rubbing off on you. Nerchio, congratulations. It's nice to see you again, man. How you been?
Yeah, I'm pretty good right now. Qualified for BlizzCon, I think, so yeah, feeling pretty good.
Oh, was this the deal to seal it for the BlizzCon? Because I thought you had a pretty good season so far this season.
I was pretty confirmed even before coming here, I think, but yeah, this sealed the deal definitely.
All right, cool, cool. Hey, any Nerchio fans out there? Yeah, there you go, there you go. All right, I want to get into a little emotional questions because I noticed that every time a set ended, you had a little gesture. After a win, it was more of... So what are you going through in your head? What are you saying to yourself when you're doing little head shakes?
Well, in my opinion, I was should be favored against Cham, but he's still pretty good in ZvZ. He beat Lambo in group stages and stuff like that. After the first game, like the first map, I wasn't really sure what to do, so I just played one base and it worked. So yeah, I felt pretty happy after that. But then he came back with the Night Swarm in the second game, so yeah, that kind of shook me up a little bit. And again, third game looked pretty good for him as well. But yeah, well, I'm pretty consistent in my game, so in the end I won.
Oh yeah, you're always consistent. You have been for, I don't know how long, almost a decade now. I don't know how long you've been a professional StarCraft 2 player for, but it's been a long time, right? I know that, since first time we met, you seem to be enjoying a lot more, that you're still part of the scene and you're still performing in your social network and everything. You just seem like you're enjoying a lot more at events now.
Yeah, since Legacy of the Void came out, I, let's say, fell in love with the game once again, because this is the best expansion that we had. And it's a great real strategy game, so yeah, I'm enjoying coming to all the tournaments and playing the game.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it does suit you. Thank you very much for your interview. Congratulations in your advancement. Best of luck.
Nerchio smashes Cham's BlizzCon dreams out of the park. They are gone as Nerchio advances 3-1 there. That smile from Cham in the middle of this series, not long-lived here as Nerchio advances into the round of 8. And Todd, that was a really good hold by him towards the end there, and a good series for Nerchio.
I really think that Nerchio, he used to give the benefit of the doubt to everybody, but nowadays he's like, you know what, I'm just so much better than them. They're going to be attacking me, so I'll be ready. And he's ready every single time, it seems like, and it's working out really well for him. Cham, though, In Control touched on it. He had a great year, but at the end of the day, he's not going to the gold finals. It's kind of sad on one hand, but he's just 20 years old. He's just at the start of his career. He's going to be back stronger next year. And, I look forward to seeing more performances out of him, too.
That's a really good point, Zombie Grub, of course. 2018 could be Cham's landmark place where he makes strides forwards into the upper echelons of WCS.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty exciting to go from 2016, where like really not a lot of people knew your name, into 2017, where they're like, oh, he's about to be at the BlizzCon, like, oh my God. That's already a pretty big deal. So next year, it's probably going to be a lot better for him, and ZvZ was his chance. Nerchio still had that star power that I talked about earlier, and was able to just be like, no, actually, like, I am very comfortable. I'm very confident I'm going to take this one.
All right, let's take a look at the bracket to see what has gone down so far. And a very important win has occurred already here in the bracket, which was True, defeating DNS 3-0. Now, you've already seen all the other results that have poured in so far, but the True win there in the round of 16 now has a big impact on Showtime. Because prior, Showtime could have got second place if True was not able to be victorious in that round of 16. But now, Showtime needs to win it all if he's to go to BlizzCon. So a lot of weight on Showtime's shoulders to, if he wants to get there.
No pressure at all, like just let's play some StarCraft. And I think that should be state of mind, though. He did say, he wasn't even thinking about the global finals. Like surely at some point he's going to creep into his mind. But ideally for him, he will play the best StarCraft that he can, because we know he's capable of taking it all the way.
Definitely. All right, well, thank you very much, guys, as we are almost ready to go to a short break here for WCS Montreal. And when we return, we're going to have, I believe it's Massa going up against Elaser, and our laptop will be covering some Cyril going up against Mana here for WCS Montreal round of 16. So don't go anywhere. More StarCraft action, awesome StarCraft action on the way very, very soon.